I mentioned the projection, first or third angle projection symbol, some of the other things that we might do with a block. And one of the templates that I like to have, and I'll start with a note block, is if I were to take this simple A landscape with everything that I've done so far and edit the sheet format and delete everything. Including oh, it doesn't like to remove the border. All right, automatic border. All right, I had to pause so that I could push some buttons and see what I could find. All right, so under the options and the document properties and the borders, there's all of the settings and was assuming. So I was thinking maybe I'd just leave it and turn it into a layer and then hide the layer or change the colors on the layer, but that didn't produce a result. So looking at the sheet and then expanding the sheet format, we go to the border and then I get a delete border. So if I for real wanted this to be an empty, and I'm not sure that I do, so I'm going to save this with and without. All right, so the goal was to have the per standard with my sheet format and my document template. And since I don't have a sheet format just yet, let's go back to these guys. And what I'm getting at here is that um, if we just need an empty sheet for a quick type that out with border. If I just need a quick drawing to generate, then I have that as a working item. Yes, I want to delete. Sure enough. All right, so it did take a second to go find it. So if I save the sheet format, now granted, I'm setting this up. I did not save a document template, so I would have to open that back up. And I'm just going to do empty. Empty a landscape and save. All right, so since I forgot the document template on the one with the border, we'll go save as and drawing templates and make sure that it takes me to the correct location. And that one was and now I don't remember what I called it, but close enough. All right, so I have an empty without border and empty with. And let's see if I go into the properties and we find there is the sheet format with the border and I apply the changes to that sheet format. That will take me back to the drawing template. All right, so this is a maze and I think I've navigated my way through it reasonably well. So the empty with border. All right, so I should see those coming up. I definitely want to clear that out, close it. Empty, empty with border. All right, so that one opens up okay. And no, I was looking for new. And an A landscape without the border. All right, so there's some reasons that I would want to do this, and sometimes we want to do a comparison to a part or to basically making an overlay. So if I have an empty sheet, I can scale the part 1:1, send it to the printer, see what the geometry is, and I really don't need all of this other stuff. But if I just needed a quick for reference drawing, no title block, no or border, or maybe leave the border since I jumped into it already, then this is where I would look at creating a note and maybe just setting some of the basics so that I could do, well, I was going to say drawn by, put my initials, let's extend that out just a little bit so I don't end up too tall. And well, they're calling it title, name, title. And I'll just leave that one blank. And actually I could put lines in there so we could write it in. I mean, if I really wanted to do something like that. Let's see, what else do we need? Maybe a revision. Any? Okay, I think I just hit my caps lock. All right, something like that. All right, so I can do that that note, but the note isn't necessarily a block yet. I haven't created it as a style or set it. So I can apply the default, update a style, delete a style, save a style. That's still not quite what I was looking for. So we need to go find under the tools, and it's just right on the edge of the screen, block and make block. So it probably would have been better to actually activate the toolbar. So the manipulator tells me where the insertion point is, so that looks okay. And I make the block. And then also I need to save the block. So if we right click, no, right click and edit, or right click and save, then it's going to go to my templates, and this is my blank blank notes or something like that. So save, and now I have something that on any of these, if I kick that out, and we were even just to go to the one without, I can now insert a block. And why don't we turn that one on? So if I expand out, go to the toolbars, we look down through here and find the blocks. Yeah, put the block over there. And I want to insert. And there are no open blocks, so it's going to need to browse. And if we put them all in the same place, that usually helps. And now I have something that I can work from. So if you want to edit the block, well, no, not really. It's not going to save it back, and I'm not going to insert it again. So one of the things I can do is explode it. Now it just becomes a node again, and I can modify and change it. But I wouldn't necessarily, I would want to add in, update the date, change the title, revision, whatever. But at least I can do a quick note. All right, so one of the other things that pops up, and I will need to go find it from, let's see, where did I put it? Okay, so from the, let's see, this is the Manual of Engineering Drawing. This one had a really good description of the first angle projection symbol. So right now that one's showing first angle projection. And, again, we're going to be doing the third angle. So pretty much the way that it folds up, or the way that we're looking into the projection on the plane, are we looking through the part and seeing the geometry, or on the outside looking around the part? So I'll fly that off to the side, and I hate when it does that. So let's see if I can escape. And we will, yeah, it's not going to let me. Okay, once my video card catches up, there we go. All right, so one of the things that I would like to do is, even just on size, is on the sketch, and we'll zoom up on this, and I want to put this in, let's see, size-wise, probably the 375, 380 would be good. Oops, maybe not that big. And I don't really want to put dimensions on it, so 0.38. We'll just go ahead and delete that. And the inside doesn't really, probably doesn't really matter. Okay, and if I just click and do not apply a dimension, I can go back over, and we could do this out of, maybe we can do this out of the sketch, but let's go to 0.16. Oh, that was a radius. No, that was why it was so big. So 0.1, that looks okay. All right, and then my third angle projection is going to be the cone. And so we're going to draw a center line through both of those. And looks like I missed. So maybe I'll drop a point at the center. And should be able to do an intersection. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And what do we have? No existing relations, so I might go ahead and do a concentric just so that those stay put. All right, and then the sketch for the line. And let's see if this will allow me to mirror. Okay, so I ended up with a couple of extra points. I don't think I have to keep those, but that looks all right. I probably will save the midpoint. All right, so that one goes to 0.2, that one goes to 0.38. And then the only other one that we would really need if we're going to follow this is the diameter. So from there to there measures out, well, let's see if we can put a dimension on it. So they're saying that that should be also the diameter. So once I've applied it, so I'm not going to be able to do a diameter. Now they did 30 degrees. All right, I'm not going to worry too much about the 30-degree mark, so let's go ahead and select all of this. And I'm going to go to my make block, and we're going to check for the insertion point. And I really want the insertion point to just be there. All right, so once the block is made, then I'll be able to go back and save the block as third angle. And we're going to see how well this works. So save. All right, so if I go back to the insert block, and that one's open. So let's see if we can browse to the third angle, because that's the one I really need to check and make sure that it works, because I want to put it into the other template. And we'll open and place it. All right, so that's still pretty big, but we can probably scale it. So the reason for doing this is you don't necessarily need to save that. And like I said, those are the width, the empty and the empty width border are just kind of contingencies. They came over with all of my settings, my standard, everything that I wanted in there. And now if I go back to the simple and edit the sheet format, one of the issues, well, two of the issues is where am I going to put this? Because everything's kind of tight here. So at the risk of sliding it in somewhere and seeing if it works, I'm going to move those up a little bit. We will go look for the block. So I want to insert, browse, and then find my way over to the third angle note. And that's really not that far off, but scale-wise, let's see what it looks like at 75%. That's still a little bit big. 50%. All right, I'm pretty good with that. And I don't want it linked to the file. But one of the things that usually happens with blocks is that if I save that with the sheet format without exploding it, then it tells me it can't find the block at each stage. So this would be one of those places where, again, I would just go ahead and explode the block. And I want to be a little bit careful with it because, oh, that was just a right click and explode. And I'd want to be a little careful with because now I can drag and move it around, and it's probably going to be something that when I edit the sheet format, I'm just going to have to watch for. So that gets me into the geometry, and if you don't explode the block when you insert the next sheet or generate the geometry, and let's see, if we go to the sheet format, my drive, to the templates, and I want to save that again as my simple and replace it, then the deck. There shouldn't have been anything in there to save other than the block. So let's see if it stayed. And rebuild. So I did not save it as the document template. So it doesn't look like it updated. So if I go to the properties and find the sheet format and apply the changes, okay, it updated that time. And then one of the reasons that I've been doing the save as document template is, it really looks like it didn't, kept the residual and didn't look at any of the changes that I'd made. So the landscape, yes. And that's one of the other reasons why we're going to go through this process of closing it, opening up the next template, make sure whatever changed, make small incremental change, nothing too drastic, and we'll be able to find it. So a couple ways to approach this. If you don't, if you don't go to this level, I would say make the empty block and the empty template sheet format, and then make just a note block that you can insert and modify so that you can keep track of your drawings that way.